Catalina helped a dying stranger on the desert road, but what he whispered before his last breath changed her fate forever. There are moments when the entire direction of your life changes in a single breath, when a choice made in 3 seconds becomes a chain you'll carry for years. This is the story of a woman who had everything planned, and a dying man who shattered that plan with 7 words. Welcome, and let us know in the comments where you're watching this story from. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future stories. Her name was Catalina Marquez, 24 years old, daughter of Don Rodrigo Marquez, owner of the second largest cattle ranch in the Sonora Highlands. Beautiful, educated, destined to marry Ignacio Villarreal, son of the wealthiest mine owner in 3 territories in exactly 11 days. The wedding dress already hung in her room. White lace imported from Spain. Pearls sewn by hand. Everything was ready. Except Catalina. That Tuesday morning in October, she saddled her chestnut mare, Luna, before dawn, and rode out alone toward the canyon trails, the only place she could still breathe. Her father had forbidden her from riding alone. Ignacio had told her it wasn't appropriate behavior for a future wife. But Catalina didn't care. She rode hard, her white dress billowing behind her like a flag of rebellion, her long dark hair wild in the wind. The desert stretched endlessly around her golden hills, sparse agave, the smell of dust and creosote. Freedom. For 1 more hour. It was near the bend in the canyon road, where the path narrowed between 2 rock walls, that she saw him, a man, lying face down in the dirt, his shirt soaked in blood. Catalina pulled Luna to a sharp stop. Dust swirled around them. For a moment, she considered turning back, riding away, pretending she'd seen nothing. But then the man moved. Just slightly, his hand twitched. Catalina dismounted. She approached carefully, her heart pounding. He was young, maybe 30. Dark hair matted with sweat and dirt, a scar cutting through his left eyebrow. His clothes were torn, his boots worn down to nothing, and his side, a bullet wound, fresh, still bleeding. "Señor?" Catalina whispered, kneeling beside him. His eyes fluttered open, gray eyes, sharp, even through the pain. He stared at her like he was seeing a ghost. "You shouldn't be here," he rasped. "You're dying," Catalina said, hands trembling. "I can't just leave you." He coughed a wet, rattling sound. Blood flecked his lips. "They're coming," he whispered. "You have to go." "Who's coming?" He didn't answer. His hand suddenly shot out and grabbed her wrist with surprising strength. "The canyon," he choked out. 3 miles north. Hidden cave, behind the waterfall. "What are you talking about?" His grip tightened. His gray eyes locked onto hers with desperate intensity. "The boy," he whispered. "Save the boy." Then his hand went limp. His eyes closed. His chest stopped moving. Catalina sat frozen, her wrist still tingling where he'd grabbed her. "The boy. What boy?" She looked around wildly. The empty road. The silent canyon. Nothing. Then, faintly, she heard it. Hoofbeats. Multiple horses. Coming fast. Catalina's instincts screamed at her. She grabbed the dead man's worn leather satchel from the dirt, swung onto Luna's back, and rode. She didn't look back. She didn't stop. She rode north, toward the canyon. 3 miles felt like 30. The waterfall appeared suddenly, a thin ribbon of water falling from a crack in the red rock cliff. Catalina dismounted, tied Luna to a juniper tree, and climbed. The rocks were slippery. The spray soaked her dress. But behind the waterfall, just as the dying man had said, a cave, dark, silent. Catalina stepped inside. Her eyes adjusted slowly to the dim light. And then, she saw him. A boy, maybe 6 years old. Skinny, barefoot, wearing clothes too big for him. Sitting against the cave wall, knees pulled to his chest, eyes wide with terror. "It's okay," Catalina whispered, raising her hands slowly. "I'm not going to hurt you." The boy didn't move, didn't speak, just stared. Catalina knelt down carefully. "What's your name?" Silence. "My name is Catalina. A man on the road sent me. He said to find you." The boy's lip trembled. "Mateo," he finally whispered. "Is Mateo your name?" The boy nodded. "Where's your family, Mateo?" His eyes filled with tears. "They killed them," he whispered. "The men with the silver badges. They killed my mama, my papa, my sister." Catalina's blood ran cold. silver badges, federales, or men pretending to be. Why? She asked softly. The boy pulled something from his pocket, a small leather pouch. He opened it carefully. Inside, a dozen uncut emeralds gleamed, even in the cave's dim light. Catalina's breath caught. A fortune. My papa found them, Mateo whispered, in the old mine. He said we'd never be poor again. But the bad men found out. They wanted them. Papa said no. So he couldn't finish. He didn't need to. Catalina understood everything. The dying man on the road, probably Mateo's father's partner or friend. The men chasing him. The emeralds worth killing for. And now this terrified boy, holding a treasure that had already cost him everything. Mateo, Catalina said gently, I'm going to help you, but you have to trust me. The boy looked at her with eyes far too old for his age. Everyone who helps me dies, he whispered. Catalina's heart broke, but she didn't waver. Not me, she said firmly. Not today. She took the boy's small hand. They climbed down from the cave together, Catalina carrying Mateo on her back. Luna stood waiting, calm and steady. Catalina lifted Mateo onto the saddle, then climbed up behind him. She didn't ride back toward her father's ranch. She didn't ride toward town. She rode west, toward the borderlands, toward the one person she knew who could help, her mother's sister, Tia Remedios. A woman who'd left proper society 20 years ago to live alone in the desert, running a small way station for travelers. A woman who asked no questions, and feared no one. The ride took 2 days. They slept under the stars. Catalina shared her canteen and the dried meat she'd packed for her morning ride. Mateo barely spoke, but on the second night, as they sat by a small fire, he finally asked, Why are you helping me? Catalina looked at him, at his thin face, his haunted eyes. Because someone once told me, she said quietly, that we're measured not by what we inherit, but by what we choose when no one's watching. Mateo didn't understand, but he nodded anyway. When they finally reached Tia Remedios's way station, a small adobe structure surrounded by desert scrub, the old woman took one look at them and understood everything. She pulled Catalina inside, fed them, gave Mateo a real bed. And that night, sitting on the porch under a sky full of stars, Remedios asked the question Catalina had been avoiding. Your wedding is in 4 days, mija. I know. I know. I know. Your father will be looking for you. I know. I know. I know. Remedios was quiet for a long moment. What are you going to do? Catalina looked out at the desert, at the endless horizon, at the freedom she'd tasted for the first time in her life. I don't know, she admitted. But I know I can't go back. Not to that life. Not to being someone's decoration. Remedios smiled. Good. 3 days later, riders arrived. Not Catalina's father. Not Ignacio. The men with silver badges. 6 of them. Armed. Dangerous. They demanded the boy. Remedios stood on her porch, rifle in hand, and told them to leave. They laughed, until Catalina stepped out beside her. Dressed not in white lace, but in her aunt's leather riding gear. Hair braided back. Her father's old revolver on her hip. The boy stays, Catalina said. The leader, a scarred man with cold eyes, smiled. You're Don Rodrigo's daughter, the one supposed to marry Villarreal. You know what you're throwing away? Yes, Catalina said. Everything I never wanted. The standoff lasted 30 seconds. Then, Tia Remedios fired a warning shot into the dirt. Next one goes through your chest, she said calmly. The men left, but Catalina knew they'd be back. That night, she made a choice. She took Mateo, the emeralds, and Luna. And she rode, not back. Forward, toward the territories where no one knew her name, where no one cared about wedding dresses or family legacy, where a woman could choose her own path. Years later, people in the Sonora Highlands still told the story of Don Rodrigo's daughter who vanished days before her wedding, of the boy she saved, of the life she chose instead of the one chosen for her. Some said she became an outlaw. Some said she started a refuge for lost children. Some said she disappeared into legend. But in a small town near the Arizona border, there was a woman who ran a school. A woman with long dark hair and gray-eyed children who called her Mama. A woman who taught girls to ride, to shoot, to read, to choose. Her name was Catalina, and she'd never worn white lace again, because sometimes the life you're supposed to live isn't the life you're meant for. And sometimes saving someone else is how you save yourself.